located at 1063 West Fayette Street in Baltimore, Maryland. What's happening? We're having a Black History Month celebration. This is going to be the biggest Black History Month celebration in the DMV, I promise you. And not only is it a Black History Month celebration, it is also the MELTREK Episode 3 release party. Family, that's right, you heard me. We are releasing MELTREK Episode 3 this Saturday. We are going to premiere it, and then we are going to release it, family. And for those who can't make it, it will be available on Amazon Prime later on that evening. So family, make sure that you're in the building. We're going to have, it's free. This is a free event, family. It's free, but you got to go to Eventbrite and grab your tickets, but it's free admission. We're going to premiere MELTREK Episode 3. We're going to have African drumming and dance, a Black business vendors are going to be there, a kids activity center, and also, family, look who's going to be in the building. Our scholar, our warrior, our junior elder, Baba Mwalimu Baruti, is coming to present his lecture, Kebuka, remembering the middle passes through the lenses of our ancestors, I say. So Baba Baruti will be in the building, family, so you don't want to miss this. So make sure that you're in the building. Also, family, if you haven't gotten your child caught up, make sure you get your child caught up, family, with MELTREK. All right. So if you didn't watch MELTREK Episode 1 or you didn't watch MELTREK Episode 2, family, make sure that you get your child caught up, right? Because we don't want your child to be lost behind. Ashe, drop an Ashe in the chat if you understand what Dr. Maat is saying to you. We don't want your child to be left behind. So make sure that you go to Amazon Prime, type in MELTREK, watch MELTREK Episode 1 with your child, watch MELTREK Episode 2 with your child before we release MELTREK Episode 3. Ashe, we want to make sure that all of the children are caught up to speed. I don't want your child sitting there like, what is going on? What's a MELTREK? And for those who don't know what a MELTREK is a melanin journey. Ashe, it's a melanin journey where we're taking you on a journey to learn about the history, culture, and achievements of melanated people. MELTREK Episode 1, exploring ancient Africa, focused on our history prior to slavery. And so the objective of MELTREK Episode 1 was to teach our children that our history does not begin with slavery. Ashe. MELTREK Episode 2, exploring the pre-Columbian Americas, teaches our children that there was a Black and brown presence in America prior to the arrival of Christopher Columbus. And MELTREK Episode 3, family, is going to be broken down into 3 parts. We're releasing part 1 on Saturday. MELTREK Episode 3, exploring the Ma'afa, the arrival of the Portuguese. So, you know, the Portuguese are I would say they are the fathers of the transatlantic kidnapping trade, Ashe. And so we're going to be dealing with that. And so here's the trailer, family. And then after that, I'm going to bring on our good brother, the producer, Brother Carl Jones. So here's the trailer for MELTREK Episode 3. Check it out.
There are many films about slavery told through foreign lenses. Now witness the full story from an African perspective. How did slavery in Africa begin? Who were the major players? Who resisted? Learn the answers and much more in MELTREK, exploring the Ma'afa, Part 1, the arrival of the Portuguese.
Family, be in the building. Be in the building. We're not playing no games. This is one of the most anticipated animations of 2024. one of the most anticipated animations of 2024. Make sure you're in the building on Saturday, family, for the premiere. And if you can't make the premiere, family, this episode will be available probably later on that night or Sunday morning. Ashe? Ashe. So, family, without further ado, I'm going to bring on our brother that has done some tremendous work, family. Bringing on our brother Carl Jones. Peace and love.
Let's combat and fight back with MELTREK. The war of the minds, they want control of the masses. And Common Core, they dumb us down in the classes. Without knowledge, we can't gain access. Build with the elders, take notes and write classes. We keep whining on the block, how it's gonna stop? Let's start supporting our own, make their supply drop. We buy stocks, then we buy blocks. Cause we know the truth and we tuned in to Dr. Maat.
A BB to me, a BB Fahodier. Peace to all of my thinkers, truth speakers, and truth seekers. Welcome to another Truth to Power Talk with your sister, Dr. Maat. And thank you for joining another powerful discussion. And tonight I had with me another powerful guest, but he is no stranger to the community. Brother Carl Jones. What an honor, brother. How are you doing this evening?
I'm good. I'm honored to be here. How are you?
I'm doing all right, brother. Honored to have you. I appreciate, connecting with you via Instagram. You got right back to me. I said, brother, I need you to come on. You said, holla at my scheduler. I'm going to be there. Holla at your scheduler, Paris. Shout out to Paris. Holla at Paris. Paris made it happen. So shout out to your scheduler or your assistant, Paris. So, brother, appreciate it. I know you're a very, very busy person. You got a lot of projects going on, and we're going to talk about that tonight. You're doing a lot of great work. I see you, brother. I see the work that you're doing. The community's proud of you. We're proud of you, super proud of you. And you just keep on being a shining example, be a shining example of a beautiful black man, Ashe. So family, take a moment to thumb up this video, family. Thumb it up, thumb it up, thumb it up. You know how the YouTube algorithm works. The more you engage the video, the more it circulates on YouTube. Also, family, share this video. Sharing is caring. We want to each one teach one. And in the daggone 21st century, how can you each one teach one? In the 21st century, you can each one teach one by just hitting the share button, right? And you can post your links on Facebook, post things on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok. So let's get the word out that Dr. Maat is live. All right. Also, family, make sure that if you haven't watched any of my Truth to Power talks or you missed some, make sure that you check out the playlist on my platform. I brought on a lot of our greats. Shout out to Baba Anthony T. Browder, Baba Mwali Mu Barudi, Dr. Malefe Ashanti, Dr. Wade Nobles. I done brought on the greats, Professor James Small, Dr. Kaba Kamene, Brother Tariq Nasheed. They've all been on this platform. So make sure that you go back, family, and watch the videos or the interviews in the archives. And also, family, I need to acknowledge my supporters, man. Shout out to you. I'm looking at you on IG, family. I see my IG family in the building. Peace and love to my IG family. Appreciate you. Just make sure to YouTube and subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit that notification bell so that whenever I go live, you're notified. Shout out to the Maadian family in the building, man. Let me see who the first person was in the building. I see you, Tiffany, repping the red, black, and green. Peace to you. I see the Queen Mother Virgo Venom is in the building. Peace and love to you. I see you. I see this brother. Hold up. Brother Jadarian. Peace and love to you, Brother Jadarian. I see Kay Croftis is in the building. Peace and love to you. I see Maine Armstead is in the building. Peace and love to you. I'm trying to see who else is in the building, family. I see a lot of y'all in the building. Brother Stan. Doctor, any opinion on Fannie Willis' testimony? I gotta see it, Stan. I haven't seen it. I see Segmet is in the building. Peace and love to you, Segmet. I see the OG Gorilla is in the building. Peace and love to you. I see Baba Torrance is in the building. He says Sankofa race first. And I see Kit Kat is in the building. Peace and love to you. I see Ben Frank is in the building. So I see the Maadian families in the building. Keep on coming in, family. Let's get these virtual seats filled up. Drop the link to this discussion in your group chats, your family chats, your friend chats. Okay, and let's fill up these virtual seats. So anyway, Brother Carl Jones, producer of Boondocks, the producer of Black Dynamite, the producer of the hit animated series Young Love. Let's talk about it, brother. And I want to start with Young Love. I want to start with that animated series. I know that is one of your newest projects. that's been released. I've seen a few clips of it. Can't wait to watch the entire series. But I've seen some clips, a lot of the clips on YouTube that you have released. And brother, when I say that I love Young Love, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, it's an animated series that features, young love, literally, like young love. It's a young Black couple raising their children in an urban setting. And we need more illustrations. We need more depictions of Black people raising, creating Black families and raising their children together. And so when I saw this project, and it's actually my son Hockey Customs who brought your project to my attention, and I was taken back. I said, this is a wonderful project. So Brother Carl Jones, could you tell us about the project? What made you all say, hey, we need to come up with this project called Young Love. We need to create this media. We need to create this depiction of young Black families raising their children, Black man and Black woman raising their children together. Let's walk us through the project and how it came about.
Yeah, so Young Love was actually based on an animated short film called Hair Love, right? That was actually just won an Oscar a couple years ago, and it was created by Matthew Cherry. This was Matthew Cherry's brainchild. It started out as a children's book, evolved into a short film about a father, having to do his little girl's hair while his mother was in the hospital suffering from cancer. And so that was the I guess the initial conception of the idea, and then Matthew basically wanted to expand outside of that and turn it into a series. So instead of starting the series from the space of like the mother having cancer, we decided to start the series taking off from the mother now making her comeback from cancer and having to assimilate herself back into the household and get back into the groove of things, but also now with the new lease on life, she's now I guess not taking things for granted and looking at life through a different lens, like trying to figure out exactly, what she wants to do to actually live her life to the fullest now that she had this close, scare with death. And and so it is a slice of life, story about a family, in the city of Chicago, struggling with the things that, we all struggle with. But at the same time, we wanted to do a more realistic portrayal of what that looks like when young parents are trying to navigate, holding down a household, but also pursuing their dreams at the same time. So the father, was an aspiring aspiring music producer, and the mother Angela, she was trying to get her foot back in the door as a beautician, so they both had their dreams, and their daughter, of course, was like, she's kind of like wise beyond her years. She's got an old soul, so she's got dreams and aspirations. Also, may not necessarily know how to achieve them, but she's got the burning desire to do it. And so, like, yeah, it was a fun show to work on. And to your point, it is something that I think we don't see a lot in animation.
Right. That's right.
Or in television, period. So, but this was all a part of Matthew's vision, and he brought me on board to help, bring it to fruition. And we knew each other from The Last OG, because he was one of the executives at Monkey Paw, which is Jordan Peele's company, and they were the producers of Last OG. So I was brought on to showrun season 3 of Last OG, and so that's how we connected. And then he brought me on board to do the to work on the animation.
Yeah, absolutely. And beautiful rundown. Thank you so much for that. But yeah, I was extremely happy just to see depictions of young Black couples, because I think that what it helps to do is it helps to change the narrative, right? Because you have a lot of false narratives that are prevalent in this society, right? Black men and Black women, they don't get together, they don't get married, they don't raise children together. Black women are nothing but single mothers, right? The Black man is not around, but here it is. Now you have this animation that shows, a young Black couple and a young Black girl. And one clip that I saw in the series it was so funny. She was very pro-Black, and so she was outside and she had a fist in the air and she was preaching, and you know, I think the police or somebody showed up and all the black folks were scattered on it. And she's like, you know, y'all running like, you know, what I laughed about it because it's true, you know, and secondly, I thought to myself, I said, there go Carl Jones. He always has that pro-black element, you know, in his films. You know, you always kind of find a way to wiggle that in, you know, pro-blackness. Could you speak to why that is so? Why do you feel the need? Because I knew when I saw her and she was out there and she had a fist in the air, and I said, he always has the element. It took me back to Huey Freeman, right? From the Boondocks. Your characters, it's always that pro-black character or someone with that pro-black mindset in your animations. Why do you always feel the need to add that element to your animations?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think everything that I do as a writer or as a creative is going to have a little bit of me in it, you know. And I grew up at a very early age reading. You know, you mentioned Anthony Browder. Like, I read the Browder Files when I was like, I read Browder Files when I was in, like, I don't know, I was like in the 9th or 10th grade. You know,
same with me. I was 15. Go ahead.
Yeah, and along with a bunch of other books, but at an early age, you know, I kind of came into this knowledge, and it has such a profound impact on me, you know, to the point where I almost to a fault, because I don't think I had the maturity to really deal with that kind of level of information that I was taking in. So I became like really, really radical, and I was completely against everything, you know, and to a point where, like, I eventually didn't even graduate from high school, you know what I mean? And I ended up joining an organization. At the time, it was called the Nubian Islamic Hebrew Mission, or the Nubian Nation, under Dr. Malachi York. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but
yeah, I'm familiar with him.
Yeah, so and he wrote like hundreds of books at the time, you know, that covered all this different information from, like, you know, ancient, you know, Nile Valley civilizations, the African cosmology, quantum physics. You know, we were studying about, you know, the Zulus, the Dogon, like all of this information and stuff. And not only that, but just the journey that we've had even here in America, getting to where we are now, and just, you know, the trials and tribulations and all of that information is a part of who I am. It's just in my DNA. It's, you know, I can't. That's what shaped and formed my perspective of the world and society, and so it's going to contribute to every story I tell. I don't know how to create without actually pulling from my honest perspective of things. You know what I mean? And so that sometimes filters that, or you know, trickles down into a lot of different characters that are in the worlds that we're creating. You know?
No, and absolutely. And you know what's crazy, and it's not even crazy, but I share your same thoughts, or your same viewpoint, because sometimes when I'm looking at the MELTREK characters and I listen to them, I'm like, hey, they sound like me, right? But of course they would sound like me because I created these characters. So that completely makes sense. And so when I saw this stuff, I said, I don't know if he's African centered. I don't know if he's pro-black. Is he a black nationalist, a pan-Africanist? I didn't know, but I knew it was something because of your characters. So let's go back to this, because you mentioned, and shout out to my spiritual father, Anthony Browder. Proud to call him my spiritual father, and he always says he's proud to call me his spiritual daughter. Wow. But shout out to my Baba, Tony Browder, and the Browder File. The Browder File has impacted so many people. Shout out to David Banner. Had a conversation with him, and he also talked about how from the Browder File transformed his life, you know, and it transformed the lives of so many people. And so you said that you got introduced to the knowledge at an early age. I got introduced to the knowledge. I was in Baltimore City wilding out, and a guy was selling books, and he called us over to his book, his table, and he's like, yeah, y'all want to buy some books? And I'm 15. I'm with my cousins and them. We run in the streets in Baltimore. I'm like, I'm not buying a book. And we walked away, and he turned around. He said, you. He said, you come back here. He said, I'm going to give you this book for free. And then he said, Erykah Badu throws these in her audience when she when she performs. And at that particular time, we talking 1996. So I'm telling my age. I was 15, 1996. And so I said, damn, Erykah Badu, you know, she gives these out. And so it made me want to take the book from him. And it sat on my dresser for months. And then eventually I became curious about the art cover, or the cover of the art of the cover. And I started looking, and I started reading up on the the art, that was on the cover of the book. Remember, it's an Egyptian, a comedian, sun child, and holding the ankh and all of that. And so then I just started reading it, and before you know it, I was like, Mom, I'm not perming my hair. I learned about melanin, European holidays, learned about Kemet and the pyramids and all kinds of stuff. And as you shared earlier, I started becoming very radical. I'm going to family dinners, arguing with folks, talking about Christianity and the scene cancel. How y'all believe in that? I'm doing all of that, because like you said, I wasn't mature enough. And I love how you communicated that. Wasn't mature enough to even process the information that I was reading. So what it did was it over radicalized me, to the degree where I was kind of like going at folks. And shout out to my aunt and my mother. She's in the chat, and they could tell you that that's what happened to me. My question to you, brother, is this: how did you get introduced to the knowledge? Was that something that happened within your household? What is your story? What was your introduction to Black consciousness?
Yeah, well, I grew up in Fayetteville, North Carolina, affectionately known as Fayetteville, same place where J. Cole is from. And we, at the time, during that time anyway, I literally watched my neighborhood kind of get turned upside down. It was like at the height of the crack epidemic. So, things were kind of wild. And the only, I guess, glimmer of light that I saw was the 5%ers. There were some brothers, the Nation of Gods and Earths were starting to bubble a little bit in my area. And they used to have these little ciphers like right around the corner from my house. And I met this guy named, I think his name was Bourne. Larry, I think his real name was Larry, but I think he went by Bourne. And he gave me a book. He gave me the lessons. He did give me the lessons, but he also gave me a book. And I think that first book was, I believe it was The Browder File, or it was a book called Fallacy of Christmas by Dr. Malachi York. But either way, but that's how I got introduced to it, was from the gods. So I would come to the ciphers, and I started studying my 1 to 20 and all of that, and supreme alphabet, mathematics, and that was, I guess, my first intro really into, I guess, the knowledge or consciousness. You know what I mean?
Beautiful. And for me, brother, after I read the Browder File, it really opened up. Like you said, it was like the floodgates. I just became hungry like a baby. So it went from the Browder File to now I'm reading the work of Dr. Naeem Akbar. So I'm reading Breaking the Chains of Psychological Slavery, Community of Self, Know Thyself, Akbar's papers in psychology. Then I'm reading the life and opinions of Marcus Garvey. Then I'm reading the autobiography of Malcolm X. And then, so reading, excited about the knowledge. And then around 2006, I went back to sleep. And I started ripping and running. And then around 2013, I got sat down, and then it came back, and now I'm learning at that stage. Then I'm getting into Dr. Ben, Dr. John Henry Clark, Ishakamu Sabara Shango, Dr. Francis Cress Wilson, Jacob Carruthers, Asa Hilliard, and getting into that work. And so for you, after you got exposed to that, I know you mentioned being a Hebrew Israelite, right? Though not Hebrew Israelite, you were.
Well, at the time, there was different names, right? But it was the Ansar Allah community at the time, but we also went by Nubian Islamic Hebrew Mission, but you could say Ansars. That's what everyone knows. King Simon that just made that comment, he was a part of the same organization.
Okay, cool. And so then from that organization, where did your journey go? I'm just curious.
Well, that organization was a big part of my life for a little while, because it wasn't just an organization, it was a movement, like with 1 million followers all over the world. And we had communities all over, and we had land in Georgia. We had 476 acres of land where we were building pyramids and a whole Egyptian village in Eatonton, Georgia. So it was a whole movement, and it became a big part of my life, to the point where I moved into the community and I began to set up my own community. I started teaching class. My day consisted of basically getting out early in the morning and teaching people on the street. We was going through the projects, and we was on street corners in front of stores. We were going through bars at night selling books and incense oils. Like, that was a big part of my life for a long time. it was because I actually felt like I was a part of an organizational group that could make a difference and make a change. You know, because I'm looking around my neighborhood and I'm seeing all the shit that's going on, and I'm like, well, how do we fix this? Like, what is, you know, even understanding the knowledge and doing the knowledge was one thing, but like, what are we doing to actually change the condition of our people? That was something that drew me into the community, because I saw that there were millions of people all over the world that were moving as one unit, trying to accomplish the same goal and building an actual home for our people. You know what I mean? And so I was there for quite a while. You
Okay.
know, and
Yeah. I got you. You said that was a big part of your life, and I did hear what happened, and you know we don't got to get into all that, but I did hear about what happened with Malachi's York. So moving forward, Boondocks, right? So Boondocks was created by, I think the brother's name was Magruder.
Aaron Magruder.
Aaron Magruder. And so initially it started out as like a comic strip.
Mm-hmm.
And it went from a comic strip to being on television. And
Mm-hmm.
so I know that he was the creator of Boondocks, but you began to become the producer. So you produced the animation. Were you responsible for creating the animation, or what was your role in the Boondocks?
Yeah, so initially, before the show got picked up, when I met Aaron Magruder, he hired me to help him do the comic strip, because at the time, you know, he was doing the comic strip, and you know, I mean, he had other things that he was doing at the same time, and I think he just needed some help, you know, on it. So he brought me on as kind of a hired hand. So then when the show got picked up, it was kind of a natural progression for me, because after spending so much time around him and us working on the strip together, we kind of developed a little bit of a rhythm, and I kind of, you know, we were, you know, I was in his head, you know what I'm saying? So I kind of knew, you know, visually what the show should look like, you know, tonally what the show should be, you know, and I just kind of understood it probably more than anybody else at the time that was on our team. So I just kind of graduated from doing the comic strip on to the show. And initially I came onto the show as you know, more so on the art side. So I would do some character design, I would do some board revisions, I would, you know, or either I was, you know, fixing drawings that may have not been necessarily like right on point or you know, consistent with his vision, you know what I'm saying? So I kind of started out on that side, but then I started, you know, participating in the writer's room and being at the record sessions, and you know what I mean, helping with casting. And then I started doing voices on the show, and just started getting involved in every aspect of the production, to the point where Sony, you know, I mean, you know, Aaron went to them and basically was like, yo, you know, we got to elevate him to a producer. And then, you know, from there, I just started gaining more and more responsibility, and you know what I mean, and just kind of went from there.
Beautiful. And another thing with the Boondocks, man, y'all, Boondocks was very controversial. It was very controversial. It was I think you were the voice of, what was the guy? Fleet, his real name.
Oh, Fleece Johnson.
Yeah, Fleece Johnson. You were the voice of that character, right? The booty warrior.
Booty warrior.
I laughed so hard because my cousin, shout out to we call him little buddy, Luther, Truck Life Lou. He used to laugh at Fleece Johnson, and when the interview went viral. And when you all, you know, impersonated him and called him the booty warrior on Boondocks, I think I lost it. I absolutely lost it. And then when you all, and people were getting mad with you. Tyler Perry was mad when you all, when you all had him. I think he was like the gay director or something, and y'all had the men all oiled up behind. It was just, the Boondocks was so funny. Even R. Kelly. Like you all did not care. Like you just did not care. R. Kelly and that whole scene when Huey jumped on there and he was like, you know, he peeing on young girls, and y'all they like, boo, get down, shut up. Cause that's how black folks feel. Black folks was defending R. Kelly. Boo, sit down, shut up. And they turned the music on, and the judge and everybody. It was hilarious. But I will say this. There were a lot of messages in the Boondocks. It was edutainment. I really categorized Boondocks as edutainment. So even though you all were entertaining people, you all were educating folks, and you were disseminating information, making us as viewers look at ourselves. Like, wait a minute, that's what the black community was actually doing. They were, even despite what he did, people were like, man, he makes good music, you know, turn the music on, you know. And so it was a lot of just stuff that you all presented in the Boondocks, a lot of views, a lot of beliefs, a lot of messages, political messages, cultural messages. Like, it was genius what you all did with the Boondocks. Now, Regina King was the voice of Huey in the other character, right? She did two voices. How was it working with Sister Regina King?
I mean, it was amazing. I mean, you know, she's a legend. I remember the day that, because initially she was going to just play Riley, right? And we were thinking about going with Alicia Keys for Huey at the time, you know.
Okay.
And but she, you know, she was like, I think I could do both, you know, and she studied, because I think, well, was two things. One, I think she was able to give them enough of a similarity in their voice where you can actually hear that they could be brothers. You know what I'm saying? Like, but at the same time, keep them very different. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like this interesting take that she had on both of them that felt like they were related, but they were so different. You know what I'm saying? And she really, I remember she studied, she was studying the Peanuts specials, you know, because the Peanut specials would use they would use real children, right?
Okay.
So,
okay.
So, and the reason why is because, I mean, the reason why she would study them is because, you know, children they have smaller lungs, so it's a different kind of breathing when they're breathing. So, like, if you're saying a sentence as a child, you may take a couple more breaths, or at least the breath control is just a little bit different. So she started getting down into like the real science of like how to truly make this believable as a child, you know, and really getting into each one of those characters. And so she got in the booth, and initially she used to she would do all of Huey's lines first and then do Riley's lines, right, or vice versa. And then she got to a point where she would just go down the page and actually do them going like back and forth, talking to each other.
Wow.
You know, and I mean, she's just amazing, you know.
Wow. And let me ask you this: did you all put effects on her voice by any chance, or that was really her voice?
No, that's her.
Wow.
That's all her.
Wow. Moving forward, Black Dynamite. What was the whole objective of that? Because I know that I believe I read that Aaron or you all end up selling Boondocks. I think what happened was they said he sold it for like $10 million. I mean, I don't know if that was just a rumor or what, but I think they said that was a rumor. You're like,
yeah,
no.
I don't think,
they said something along the lines that he sold it for 10 million, or you sold it for 10 million. I keep hearing this $10 million. No, that's not. Okay, they were saying something about it got sold, or the rights got sold, or something like that.
I don't think so.
Okay, so you all did what? It was 5 or 6 seasons?
Well, I did 3 seasons, and then they went and did a 4th season, but I wasn't a part of that one.
Oh, okay, so maybe that's what it was. But I thought
yeah, they did a 4th season that I wasn't a part of, and I say that because I know, you know, a lot of people weren't happy with that one. And then
no, they weren't. No one was, right?
Yeah, but then he tried to do a 5th season, and then I think they had some problems getting that off the ground. But I wasn't involved at the time. Me and him had a fallout.
Okay, so maybe that's what I heard, because I thought it was something. Yeah. I know you were. I know that they did something and you weren't a part of it, and then I thought it was that you all sold it or something like that. But it was the fallout. They kept going, and you were like, "I'm out of here." All right. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So Black Dynamite, you were a part of Black Dynamite, correct?
Yeah.
And what was the premise of Black Dynamite?
So Michael Jai White did a movie. He did like a 70s blaxploitation spoof movie. But it really wasn't. I guess it was a little. Actually, it was. I don't even want to call it a spoof, because to me, like Undercover Brother was a spoof. You know, Black Dynamite was done almost like an authentic 70s blaxploitation movie, right? Mm-hmm. But he did that movie with a company called Ars Nova, and I got a hold of a bootleg copy of the movie, and I remember watching it, and I was thinking, man, this would be a dope animated series. Like I could see this, like I could just see this action-packed, like, you know, style show, like blaxploitation show. And I just envisioned like all these beautiful colors of the 70s, and you know what I'm saying, the bell bottoms and the, you know what I mean? And I just had this idea in my head, right? Didn't really think much of it at the time. And then my manager called me and he was like, yo, the people that did Black Dynamite want to have a meeting with you. I was like, that's crazy. I was literally just sitting here, thinking about what that could be. So, so they wanted me to screen the movie, right? And so I acted like this was the first time I saw it, although I had the bootleg at home. And so, but afterwards, I was like, yeah, this is dope. And I, and they were like, well, we want to do something animated. And I was like, well, I kind of got an idea for that, And so I pitched them this idea. They liked it. I took it to Adult Swim, and I had already had a relationship with Adult Swim from from Boondocks and from Freaknik. I did another project with them at the time. And so that was like family to me already. So I brought Black Dynamite to them, and they went crazy over it. And we so
how many seasons of Black Dynamite did you all produce?
Yeah, we did 2 seasons. And the last season, I think I might have pushed the boundaries a little too far, like with some of the social commentary, and you know what I mean, like, because I got a call from the network, and they were basically like,
it's too much.
Probably, yeah, because what happened was I did an interview on CNN about police brutality because we had just put out an episode. It was a season finale called The Wizard of Watts, and it was basically about the Watts riots, but I combined the idea of the Wizard of Oz into like, where Black Dynamite gets hit by a brick in the Watts riots, and he gets sent to this magical land called Oswatts is what we called it. But anyways, when he gets there, it is about like, the Munchkins are living under the rule of these evil pigs, and you know what I'm saying? And so we were addressing police brutality in this real fantastical way. And it got me on CNN, and they were having this conversation about police brutality. And I was telling them I was telling them about their portrayal of us on the news, and how, they're participating in social engineering, and how the world is perceiving Black men, and all of this stuff. Right. And it was live, and I remember when I left, when I finished doing the interview and I was walking through CNN, I remember this brother walked by me like this. And I was like, at the time, I didn't really think I said anything too crazy. But I think it was either that day or like a week later, I got a call from the network, and they were like, yeah, that's not the kind of attention we want over here, And they were like, we love you and we want to continue to work with you, but we don't think we want to move forward with another season of the show. And so they pulled the plug,
Yeah, I figured, because it was short-lived. I just didn't know what happened behind the scenes. I didn't know if it was a ratings issue or what, but I know that it was short-lived. And you're saying, so the ratings were fine. That's what you're telling me. It was
ratings are still fine.
Wow.
We heard, because one of my guys that was actually at Adult Swim when we were doing Black Dynamite, and he just recently left, but he told me like last year, during COVID, he was telling me like, he was like, yo, the Boondocks and Black Dynamite, both of them are still holding really good numbers. Like they just came out. Like our views we were still holding steady, as if like the show was like new, like we were putting out new seasons. They didn't, and so, so yeah. So, I mean, we were doing good then, and we're doing good. Still doing good. I just think like, you know what I mean? Like the way it was explained to me anyway. And this is Mike Lazo, who, by the way, I still got love for. He gave me, yeah, I mean, Adult Swim is family to me still, but he told me straight up, he was like, yo, this is a stoner network. It's like, he was just like, people kind of watch this, like, they don't want to have to think about such heavy, deep shit. And I think like that was, especially the second season, we started like really going in on the second season. I think maybe a little too heavy on the social commentary, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
But this is not the first time that people kind of tried to pull the plug on your projects, but we're going to take a commercial break and we'll be right back. Here we go, family.
This summer, Ed Anime Productions presents MELTREK, Episode 1, Exploring Ancient Africa. Witness the most accurate historical account of African-American people. A story that has never been told like this before. Join Bunchy, Chin, Percy, Michelle, and Jesse As they open their third eyes and are sent back in time by their magical teacher, Miss Lawful, they begin their adventure in ancient Africa in the Nile Valley. There, they meet a young Egyptian boy named Ramesses. Using hip-hop, funky beats, and rhymes, Ramesses teaches the children about the great kingdoms of Africa. They explored the Nile Valley.
The Nile Valley was the place to be. Ghana is the first stop, land of the gold that they sold
Mali
non-stop.
and Songhai.
Mali and Songhai must have had some serious armies.
The Congo.
The Congo region is beautiful.
Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe's where we land.
And Zulu. Witness the mental and spiritual transformation of the characters. Not only will they transform, but you will also as you travel with MELTREK. Let's resurrect the spirit of our ancestors inside all of us and recall that we all come from greatness so we can be great.
We're going to a different time zone where our ancestors always sat on the throne. Yeah, and I'm talking about you and me. Our big vacation considered greatness and royalty. So rise up, sons and daughters of a KB land. It's time to claim our riches and take back our land. So come and take this journey, and when you come back, tell your friends and family all about the MELTREK. MELTREK, 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 MELTREK. Back to the basics and talk about the MELTREK.
Family, you better get your children caught up. Make sure you get your children caught up. We're getting ready to release MELTREK episode 3 this weekend, family. That was MELTREK episode 1. I showed the trailer for MELTREK episode 3 at the beginning of this broadcast. And before we get out of here, you know I got to show the trailer for MELTREK episode 2, family. So make sure that you're in the building. Morning Star Baptist Church of Christ, located at 1063 West Fayette Street in Baltimore, Maryland, zip code 21223. Make sure that you're there on Saturday from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. for the Black History Month celebration and the MELTREK premiere. Now back to you, Mr. Carl Jones, Brother Carl Jones, before I let you get on out of here. That wasn't the first time that you were canceled attempt. They tried to pull the plug. It's not the first time, because Tyler Perry tried to pull the plug on you with that episode. He had a relationship, I think it was CBS. And he was like, wait a minute, when you all released that episode, he was just like, nah, they can't, we gotta pull this episode. And so how true is that? Was that just a rumor, or was that actually true that he tried to pull the episode? And when you look on YouTube, you can't even find it. Like I found a video of a brother doing some commentary on it, but the full episode, you can't find it on social media. I haven't seen it, if you can. And so was that real that he got the episode pulled? Is that the truth, brother?
Yeah, that's real. And we were kind of warned ahead of time to walk kind of softly, and we did change, because the original vision for it was probably even a little worse, because we actually had named him Tyler Perry, and he looked like him originally, but then, the network, they had us change it, for good reason, and mind you, TBS was the parent company of Adult Swim, and you know what I mean? All of the stuff that he was doing with TBS, they wasn't about to, sacrifice their relationship with Tyler for this little cartoon.
Right.
What I mean? So he as soon as it aired, I think the next day we got a call, like Tyler himself called and told them to, they better not ever air it again, and they didn't.
Wow.
So yeah, but we had a BET episode that got pulled too. You know what I mean? So I don't know, it happens. Sometimes.
It was. What do you mean? It was a BET? It was one of the Boondocks episodes that aired on BET that got pulled.
No, we did an episode about BET.
Oh, you did about
that actually got pulled before it aired, and then I think it ended up on the DVD, and I think it's on HBO Max now, but that got pulled before it aired. But that's a long story.
Right.
Yeah.
I got you. Daggone. So that. Go ahead. I'm listening.
No. I was just saying, it's just one of those things, man. Looking back, we were, I don't know, man. We were young, and we were also, I realized, looking back, we were really just. It felt more because we were friends, and almost it was more. I more so would even say a family, and we were trying to, make each other laugh, and we were doing shit that we found funny and that we thought, like a small group of people, our peers would find funny. We weren't really thinking about necessarily like outside of that, like how it would impact people, and you know what I mean, who's going to get mad, and
Right.
you know, and at the time, I remember when Chappelle's show came out, you know, we were actually really inspired by that too, you know, because he was like gloves off, like going in, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And doing stuff that was really smart and edgy, and but also the comic strip was always really smart and edgy too. By the way, a lot of people don't know Uncle Ruckus was actually introduced to the world through the comic strip first.
Wow.
You know, and he got, but we got pulled out of newspapers. You know, because we did like a week of strips with Ruckus. I think he went to go see the new King Kong. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I believe he went to the movies to see the new King Kong movie, and you know, Ruckus was being Ruckus in the newspapers. A lot of papers pulled the strip, so we ended up having to take him out the comic strip. But you know, Aaron was really just wanting to test the waters and see, you know, how the public would respond to Ruckus before we put him in the show. But when we put him in the show, he became like one of the most loved characters. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. So, brother, I mean, like, I know you already won awards, but you're already winning awards for Young Love. I say Young Thug. Young Love. Shout out to Young Thug. I hope the brother make it out. But no, you're already winning awards for that. Are there more projects in the works, brother? Are there more projects? Because you strike me as a creator, and I see a creator in you. Because I am a creator. I every day that I get up, I have ideas that I want to manifest, you know, and I think that I get on my auntie and my mama, their nerves, because every day I want to create, you know, and I feel that same thing from you. So I'm like, it's something moved me to just say, actually, I know you got some other works, some other projects going on. Are you at liberty to speak to some of that right now? And not really. If you can't, it's cool.
Some things I can't. But I'll just say doing some stuff with Tracy Morgan. I can't give specifics about it.
That's fine.
And then some stuff with Meg Thee Stallion too. And which I'm really excited about. You know, we got some stuff on the feature side. And we also we launched this company called Martian Blueberry, which started out as an animation studio during the pandemic, but it's now expanded into more of a creative agency where we're trying to create an opportunity for young up and coming creatives to be able to, you know, bring their ideas and help, and we can, you know, be more of mentors and curators and help them, you know, get their ideas to a level where it is ready for the market, right? But also doing it in such a way where they can retain ownership, so they're not just going to Hollywood and selling their soul, you know, when they have a really good idea. Because I've been, you know, and that's typically the way it's done. It's like you have an idea, you go to Hollywood, they pay you for a nominal fee for it, and then, you know what I'm saying, and if you're fortunate enough, you may be able to, you get paid to work on it, but that's not always the case. And when the show is done, you still walk away with no IP rights. So we have another path to help creatives build brands around their IP and to keep ownership. So that's something that you'll hear more about as we move along, because we're still in the early stages of laying down the groundwork for it. But the further we go along, we should definitely stay in touch, because I would love to, especially for your community and, you know, your listeners. I think it's the perfect. You definitely would want to tap in with us and you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And so I do want you to hold on one sec before I say what I want to say to you. I don't want to drop a bomb for you. Fire! They said this interview is everything. So I just wanted to drop a bomb for you, and thank you so much for coming on this platform. Do you have any closing words for the listening audience?
Just, you know, we got to work together. We got to come together. And I know that sounds cliche, you know what I'm saying? And you know, it is sad that it's become cliche, because that's still something that we don't see enough of. And I feel like when I say we should come together, I don't just mean we as creators, producers, writers. I just mean as a people, like we got to come together and work together and help each other, help each other, grow and evolve and build, you know what I'm saying? Because I always tell people, the Boondocks or anything that I've worked on never would have been a success or reached the level of success that it reached if it wasn't for the fans and the people that supported it, right?
That's right. That's right.
So what we're building with Marsh and Blueberry is an infrastructure that's set up so that even the people that are fans could also be stakeholders, where they can hold equity in the actual IP that they're supporting. We have a technology in place and a system in place where you're not only just a fan and someone who is helping to. Because if you think about it, right, like even today, like if a show is popular, it becomes popular when we say it's popular. Because once the culture signs off and we begin to spread it through social media, using all of our platforms to get it out there and to say that it is the thing that people should watch, then that's when it becomes a thing, right? But we don't see any residuals from any of the success of those film or TV projects. We don't have any stake in them. There's no equity at all, and that's a little unfair. It's the same way with social media. It's like a lot of social media platforms is digital colonialism in a lot of ways, right?
Yes, you better say it. You better say it.
But that's it. I mean, we're constantly pouring the culture into these platforms, and we get no monetary, no control, no ownership, no equity, no anything, and it's constantly being monetized over and over and over again. So we're creating a new system where we can create original IP, and as you support it, you also benefit. As it begins to prosper, you also prosper. And that's so we're thinking more inclusively versus exclusively. It's not about just us making a good project and making a bunch of money. It's about how can we help the whole community come up off the success of the projects we created.
Absolutely.
That's the I'm just saying that kind of thinking is, I think we all gotta think more inclusively. Like, how can we all come up? How can we all benefit?
That's right. I agree 1,000% with you. Hold on one second. I think looking for this tab right here. Oh, here we go. All right. So, brother, I want to play this last trailer, and I promise you I'm gonna let you go. Here we go. And family, tell me if you can hear it in the chat, because I don't know if I hit the share audio button. Let me know if you can hear it, family.
This fall, Ed Anime Productions returns with MELTREK, Episode 2, exploring the pre-Columbian Americas. Learn about the Native Americans and the people who came to the Americas long before Columbus. This once hidden history has never been told like this before. Join Bunchy, Chen, Percy, Michelle, and Jesse as they are sent back in time by their magical teacher, Miss Lawton, to learn about the Americas. They begin their adventure in North America by the Ohio River. There, they meet a young Adena girl named Winona. Using hip-hop, funky beats, and rhymes, Winona teaches the children about the early civilizations of the Americas. They learn about the mound builders.
Starting with the mound builders in the north.
The Olmecs.
The Olmecs, the oldest, the indigenous people.
The Mayans.
After the Olmecs came the Mayans.
The Aztecs.
Aztecs came next, follow their footsteps. Same culture, same intellect, but had their own
The Incas.
The Incas, a great nation in South America.
And much, much more. Witness the mental and spiritual transformations of the characters. Not only will they transform, but you will also as you travel with MELTREK. Let's resurrect the spirit of our ancestors inside all of us and recall that we come from greatness so we can be great.
We're going to a different time zone where our ancestors always sat on the throne. Yeah, and I'm talking about you and me. Our big vacation considered greatest in royalty. So rise up, sons and daughters of a KB land. It's time to claim our riches and take back our land. So come and take this journey, and when you come back, tell your friends and family all about the MELTREK. Back to the base. And talk about the MELTREK.
Family, we're not playing around, man. When I say Brother Carl Jones, we're telling our stories. We're telling our narratives from our perspective unapologetically. And a way to, to motivate people, inspire people, encourage people is through media. you know. And so that's what we're doing. So, brother, thank you so much for coming on. I did want to say something to you backstage. I didn't want to say something to you. I didn't want to say it live on air, but I did want to say something to you backstage before you go. But yes, sir, you had a question?
Well, no, I just want to say how dope it is that MELTREK, like what you guys are doing with that, like that's really, really dope. Like see, those are the kind of things that get me, you know, that inspire me and also get me excited, because there's so many stories. I mean, you know, there's in one respect, there's a lot of education, right, that can happen with the Mayas, the Aztecs, the Incas, you know what I mean? But there's also those places are rich, those cultures are rich with stories.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like in Ghana, they have a folklore board, right? They have a group that basically preserves the stories of Ghana, and there's hundreds, if not thousands of them. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
And so there's so many indigenous cultures or indigenous lands where there's so many stories that need to be told. And if we don't do it, no one else is. So I really appreciate that. And you guys you're making it in a way that's palpable for all people, not just for Black people. You know what I'm saying? You're showing the world that our stories are universal. That's right. And even the education, even learning about these things is also universal. It's not just for us; it's for everyone should learn about learn about these cultures. So, I'm just saying, I just wanted to give you your flowers and give y'all your flowers for what you're doing with that.
Appreciate your words, brother. Appreciate your words. And especially coming from a giant, we hold you in very high regard, in this community over here. So I definitely appreciate those words. And I'm looking at Righteous Ron. He said, I could see MELTREK, Mardian, Blueberry, and Black Sayings coming together to take our culture's influence on comments to an astronomical level. I couldn't agree with you, Righteous Ron. I agree with you 1,000%. I want to say before we close out, shout out to all of the people who are watching right now. I love you guys. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate your time and your energy. You could have been somewhere else. You could have been on another platform, but guess what? You chose to be right here with Dr. Maat and Brother Carl Jones. You could have been in the YouTube street somewhere else or on the IG street somewhere else, but you're right here with Dr. Maat on the Truth to Power Talk platform. And so I thank you from the bottom of my heart for tuning in. Family, make sure before you head on out of here, make sure you thumb up the video, thumb it up. Also, family, share this video on all of your social media platforms. Sharing is caring, and we want to each one teach one, and you can each one teach one by the stroke of a button. And lastly, family, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, be sure to go on over to Dr. Oya Edward Maat's YouTube channel, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and hit the notification bell so that whenever I go live, you will be notified. Brother Carl Jones, thank you so much for coming on, brother. We appreciate you. We love you, and we honor you over here on this platform. Brother, sit tight. I just wanted to say a few things to you before, you got off. I know I didn't held you for an hour, but I wanted to say a couple of more things to you. Family, thank you for tuning in. Peace and Black Power.
Let's combat and fight back with MELTREK. The war of the minds, they want control of the masses. And Common Core, they dumb us down in the classes. Without knowledge, we can't gain access. Build with the elders, take notes and write classes. We keep whining on the block, how it's gonna stop? Let's start supporting our own, make their supply drop. We buy stocks, then we buy blocks, cause we know the truth and we tuned in to Dr. Maat.